Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How was your day today? How are you? How's things? How's life? Things are good here in West Virginia. If you watched yesterday's episode, even after I told you not to, you will know that we were expecting a massive snowstorm here yesterday, and it missed us. It went just north of us and kind of blew past us and headed straight for the East Coast. So, things are good. We got like a 0.5 millimeter of snow right now. It's supposed to be really cold tonight, and we're expecting to probably get some snow tonight, but nothing major. So it missed me. I get to go to work. Yay. So on that note, work. This thing that I've done now for almost a year, I've tried to keep it mostly positive. I've had moments where I have told you how my depression has affected me, or how I've been really upset with something. But for the most part, I try to say nice things about stuff, whatever it is. I try to be a positive person as much as possible. I try not to spread negativity, because negativity just really doesn't do anybody any good. It really doesn't help any situation. Now, positive criticism is not the same thing as negativity. I want to put that out there. Negativity is just being mean and being just aggressively mean. And I don't like being that person, so I try to keep my comments here calm and level-headed. I'm not going to start just tearing into somebody or a project or a game or whatever it is because I feel like that's the right thing to do. But there's always a but, right? Like, I just spent a minute of this episode telling you that I'm pre-apologized for what I'm about to say. If you know me personally, or if you watched the show last fall, you will know that I am not a fan of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a terrible selection for president. He is a golden child, a silver spoon, who inherited a large gift. He says it's a small gift. Okay, give me $1 million. And got lucky a few times and has had dozens upon dozens of completely failed businesses. He's an egotist. He's just not the person that should be representing us to the world. I don't like him. I think he's not a good choice. But I will say this about Donald Trump: he's not an idiot. He's a smart man. He can comprehend things when you talk to him. You get the sense that he takes his education seriously on topics, and that he sincerely wants to understand things. This year, in my state, West Virginia, we have a new governor, and he was a Democrat, but other than that, he mirrors Donald Trump like across the board. He claims to be a man of the people who he is just like everybody else in West Virginia, even though he inherited his family's successful coal mining businesses and started off life extremely wealthy. He's just like the rest of us. And he's gotten lucky, but at the same time, he's ran his coal businesses into the ground and has never really done anything remarkable except for become governor of the West Virginia. And the difference between him and Donald Trump: he's an egotist. He says very odd things. He talks about himself in the third person. He's old and dated and has a really warped perception of the world. Those are similarities. The difference is he is an absolute buffoon, a complete idiot, just a below the board moron, complete freaking moron. And how this guy made it to the point that some party nominated him to be their representative and then got elected by this shithole state, I have no idea. I've lived here my entire life. Aside from my term in the Marine Corps, I've lived in West Virginia. And this state has been clutching with every inch of its fingernails to a failing export, and that is coal. That is the only thing we have here. We used to have timber. We ruined that industry. Now we have coal and a couple of tourist spots that nobody really gives a crap about, unless you're local. And like Trump, Jim Justice's plan is we're bringing the coal back. Great. We're going to open all these coal mines back up, and all these jobs are going to come back. Who's going to buy the product again? Because nobody's buying coal right now. It's a dead industry. Meanwhile, the rest of the world has moved on and has developed millions of jobs in solar. But screw that. We're gonna bring it back. And this buffoon thinks that. You know what? I have a couple sound clips. I want to play this first one for you just to give you a general idea of who he is. This comes from our local public broadcasting Metro News, and the gentleman, Hoppy Kirchhoffs, who you'll hear talking first, is the host of Talkline, and it's a 2-hour-ish show every day that people can call in and talk about stuff. So check this out.
You've been in business all your life. You run a number of businesses, and I'm sure you've had this conversation hundreds of times where you look at the balance sheet, you've looked at the hundreds of balance sheets and say, well, wait a minute, this is how much money is coming in. We can't continue to spend more than we have. We're going to have to reduce. We're going to have to make changes because we can't spend more money than we have. I mean, that's what the Republicans said yesterday, that they're going to have a balanced checkbook and we're not going to spend more than we take in. Doesn't that make business sense?
Aubrey, listen, this is so absurd. I mean, it just, not only does it not make any business sense, I mean, it sounds good. I mean, these people are professional talkers, and I'm not. I'm new to this game. I mean, these people have been in office for up to 10 years, and they're professional talkers. Now, let me just use exactly the example you just said.
Okay.
They said, we've got a home, a typical West Virginia home.
Typical.
And
yep.
And what you have is you have a mom and a dad that both have a job. And then the mom loses a job.
Oh,
and
really?
the dad was working in the mines and making $90,000 a year and everything.
This is typical?
And now he's driving a snowplow for the state of West Virginia and making $30,000.
That's typical where?
Grandma is not able to take care of herself, so she moves into the house. One of the kids gets sick.
Oh.
And so what happens then is they drain all their savings.
This is
that's
typical.
A rainy day fund.
According to this guy.
And the next thing, the family's living on beanie weenies, and the Republicans are saying,
beanie weenies.
Just tell them to cut more. Just cut more back and everything. Let's just put Grandma out on the front porch and let her die, and we'll get rid of her and everything. And let's only feed the kids once a day, and let's feed them cornmeal. Well, I don't believe that.
Cornmeal.
I believe that really and truly,
this is
if you
typical.
continue to do just that, you are guaranteed one thing for sure.
Grandma's out on my porch right now. Grandma's on my porch dying, and my kids are eating cornmeal. That's typical. This is what this guy thinks is typical. And let me tell you, coal mining jobs in this state have been essentially non-existent since the 80s. That is extremely atypical. There are very few people who went from coal mining to nothing since the 80s. Now, not saying it doesn't happen. It does. But that's not typical at all. And again, this just illustrates the only perspective that this idiot has, this buffoon has, is from his failing coal businesses. Okay? So, I cut this clip up into two parts because I really wanted you to just hear this one thing. And to tell you what this is all about, essentially the Republicans came out yesterday and said, here's our proposal. We are going to make this state work within its current income level, and we will close our budget gaps. We have like a projected budget failure of like $500 million or something stupid like that. So the Republicans' plan is, let's live within our means. Let's cut back what we can until we can make budget and then move on. Now, I'm not a Republican. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Republican at all, but it makes a lot of sense to me. West Virginia is failing, and there is no stimulus just going to just suddenly appear out of thin air and bring us into the future, like Governor Justice seems to think is going to happen. So cutting until we can collect ourselves makes a lot of sense, okay? That's what they're discussing here, is the Republicans introduced a budget that is balanced and makes sense. Governor Justice says, no, we need to not only have cuts, but have these increases so that we can pump money back into the West Virginia economy and build something. So it's two sides of the argument. But then you just got to hear it.
Perfect example. I couldn't say it any better than this in a million years.
Million years.
A kid at Greenbrier East High School on his way to school. This is true as it can be.
True as it can be.
On his way to school,
true as it can be.
There was a raccoon that had been run over and it was laying on the side of the road.
A raccoon.
He picked the raccoon up.
Raccoon.
Took a fishing line and tied it around the raccoon's neck and then tied it to his leg and everything and went running into school with the raccoon chasing him down the hallway and everything. Well, everybody was diving in the ditch everywhere you can dive and everything. It scared everybody totally to death.
They were diving in the ditch.
In a lot of trouble. But I thought, to be perfectly honest,
in a high school,
it was one of the more original things that I'd ever seen in my life.
Good golly.
I'm not promoting to take a raccoon into school, don't get me wrong. But the problem with the Republican thing and the Republicans is every time they're using one-time money and really and truly, every time we turn and look over our back, that raccoon's going to be there. And we're not going to be able to get rid of it because we're going to turn right around next year and have another $400 million hole in the budget.
He couldn't have said it any better himself. That is the best example this freaking idiot could come up with of tying a raccoon to your leg. Somehow that is a perfect metaphor for our state's budget gap. And this is our freaking governor. He's a moron. A complete freaking moron. There's no way around it. The guy is an idiot with no perspective on how this state actually works. Has never been in government before. And I just wanted to share that soundbite with you. I really don't have much context out of this because obviously I'm just a dude. I don't have a fix. I don't know how, I can't just wave a wand and suddenly West Virginia is saved. No more than he can, no more than the legislature can. All we can do is take steps, baby steps. We can't swing 20-pound sledges and see what happens. But I guess we're going to tie some raccoons to our legs and just see what the hell happens. Yeah, there we go. Some negativity from me. Thanks for being here. Thanks for liking and commenting and subscribing. Don't forget to share my videos. I love it when you guys share and talk about stuff. People discover old videos and comment and all that stuff. So, thank you for being here. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from Reddit.com. Today I learned subreddit. Interesting. What animals have chins? A chin is a protrusion at the front of the mandible bone, which humans and elephants have, while gorillas, and apparently every other animal, do not have.